Welcome back, guys. I have owned this 2017 Acura NC1 NSX for a little over 4 months now, and I figured it's time to get real and talk about why maybe you shouldn't buy this car. Some of you in the comments of my last NC1 videos have been quite vocal about all the reasons you shouldn't buy this car, which I find very amusing because I'm quite positive that 99% of you have never even driven this car. So the fact that you can comment with such a strong position on why this car is so underwhelming to drive, I find hilarious. It's like saying a restaurant is no good when you've never even tried the food. But I have owned this car for 4 months, and I've put something like 1,500 miles on it. That's not a ton of miles, and it's not a lot of time, but it's enough for me to point out a few aspects of this car that I think could be deal breakers for you. So let's take this for a drive and get into it. And I figured I would do this video in POV since I have done quite a few canyon drives with my usual 3-camera setup. POV I thought might add a little bit more of an intimate feel with the driving experience of this car. It's been raining the last few days. Just gonna take it easy and talk about my experience with this car so far. And 5 reasons why you might not want to buy one. All right, so reason number 1 is gonna be performance per dollar. You do not buy this car because you want the absolute fastest lap times for the money. Even though this car, I would say, is actually pretty affordable for what you get in the low $100,000 range. I've seen these anywhere from around $100,000 to $150,000, with the average example being around $125,000, $130,000. If you look at the actual lap times of this car from experienced drivers, then you might be quite underwhelmed. For example, this car is slower around a track, I think, than a base C8 Corvette Stingray with the Z51 package. Even the Type S version is much slower than the C8 E-Ray. And even though I actually really enjoy driving this car in the canyons, I am not under the illusion that this is a track weapon. This is not a GT3 competitor, not even a GT4 competitor in many ways. Even though it's got the power, it's got the fancy all-wheel drive, the dual clutch transmission, the hybrid assist, it's ultimately still a nearly 2-ton car that's meant more for daily comfort than outright speed. If you're going for performance per dollar in terms of lap time, you'd be much better off with a C8 Corvette, or even something like a Mark V GR Supra with a couple of basic mods. Now, reason number 2 to not buy an Acura NC1 NSX is if you're looking for analog, old school driving dynamics. A lot of you know, I actually consider myself in the same camp for the most part, want a sports car that is very engaging to drive and has that sort of old school feel that the latest and greatest cars are moving further and further away from. You want that hydraulic steering rack with tons of feedback. You want the manual transmission. You want to blip your own downshifts. You want good old-fashioned rear-wheel drive, and I get it. That's why I still have my 1991 NSX. It is about as analog of a car as I'd ever want. The NC1 is not that. This has electric power steering, it has brake and throttle by wire, it has all-wheel drive, and it has an advanced stability control system that some say you can't actually fully disable. So no, by 2025 standards, even though this is nearly a 10-year-old car now, this is not an analog driving experience. This car achieves its performance using fairly advanced technologies. Now, I don't think that makes it not fun to drive. I have driven this car quite hard in the canyons a number of times now, and I always come away with a smile on my face because it's exciting the way this car deploys its technology to achieve its performance while still giving the driver a good sense of what's going on. But compared to something like an NA1 NSX, or even something like a new Cayman GT4, this goes about performance in a very different way, and that's something you either love or hate. For example, I used to not like the idea of an all-wheel drive supercar. I always wanted a rear-wheel drive. And I didn't want turbos. I wanted naturally aspirated, and I wanted a manual transmission. But the lack of those things doesn't make me enjoy this car any less. All right, the number 3 reason why you shouldn't buy an NC1 NSX is if you care a lot about brand image. Some supercar owners, actually I would argue probably most supercar owners, want a European brand. They want your Ferraris and McLarens and Lamborghinis or even Porsches of the world. You buy a supercar, you know, partially for the driving dynamics and the performance, of course, but also partially because you want to be seen. And a lot of people don't want to be seen driving essentially a glorified Honda that they spent supercar money on. I took this car to Monterey Car Week this year, and one of the funniest moments of that day when I was just pulling into Pebble Beach, and there's, I think, a BMW 5 Series that drove past, and there were a bunch of kids in it, and the kid in the back seat rolled the window down, hung half his body out the window just to yell, "Nice Honda," at me as I drove past. And I thought that was funny because I wasn't quite sure what he meant. Because if I were driving a Porsche 911, he definitely wouldn't have said that, right? Because Porsches are a dime a dozen at Monterey Car Week. They're amazing cars, but ultimately it's what you expect to see. The fact that he saw a Honda supercar made him feel compelled to point it out. So if you're someone who would feel ashamed to be seen in an Acura supercar, then obviously this is not for you. I'm actually not an Acura loyalist by any means, despite having 3 Acuras in my garage. I just happen to really like these 3 particular models. This NC1, my NA1, and my Integra Type S. I don't care for any other car in the Acura lineup right now. None of them speak to me, but these 3 do, and that's why I have them. And of course they were within my price range. I love the sound of this V6. Alright, reason number 4 to avoid the NC1 NSX is if you're looking for a track car. Now this one should be a no-brainer, but the simple fact that so many reviews and people who complain about the NC1 always bring up lap time as a factor, and I think it's funny because for me, lap time could not matter less. This is not a car I plan to turn into a track weapon. I have not done any track days with this, but I do plan on doing that in early 2026. And while, of course, I do want this car to be fun and enjoyable to drive on track, lap time is completely irrelevant. It's meant to be an everyday supercar. It's meant to be comfortable, refined, quiet, reliable, and fun to drive. I'm not expecting this to compete with the McLarens and Ferraris and GT3s. This car is more reliable, it's more comfortable, and it's more affordable long term. If you want a track car for sub 150K, the answer is pretty clear, honestly. Go for a GT4 or a GT3, the best one that you can afford. Or if you want something front engine, rear wheel drive, GR Supra with some mods is a great option. Or if you want something American, go for a C8 Corvette, either a Stingray Z51 or the Z06. Amazing cars on track. The NC1 NSX is not that. It's too heavy. The hybrid tech will hold it back from extended 20-minute sessions. It's just not the right car for that use case. And reason number 5 to avoid the NC1 NSX is if you need your supercar to have a lot of space. You know, Acura and Honda did market this as an everyday supercar, but unfortunately, if you really tried to drive this every day, I think you'd be very satisfied with the comfort and the refinement and the low noise, and the tech works just fine. You can drive it around in quiet mode. You got your Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, all of that is great. Even the fuel economy is pretty good, but there's so little storage space. On the interior, you get this laughable glove box. There's no door pockets. The center compartment back there is very, very small, and the trunk is very small. You can't actually fit a carry-on sized roller bag back there. You're basically limited to backpacks and soft duffel bags if you want to do a weekend trip in this car. And on top of that, everything that you put in the trunk is going to get very, very hot because of its proximity to the engine. And so that is, you know, what I consider a legitimate complaint with this car, because this car is supposed to be an everyday supercar, but it doesn't have the storage space to really accommodate that unless you really try to pack around it. Something like a Porsche 911 Turbo S will have much more space with the 911's back seat and a quite sizable front. And with the Cayman, you even get a rear trunk. So because of the hybrid components of the NC1, there is no front trunk, and that is one of the main limiting factors that prevents this from being truly daily drivable for some people. So those are my 5 reasons why you shouldn't buy an NC1 Acura NSX. I really think all of those are legitimate reasons. I'm not trying to downplay how people feel about things like brand image. It matters, of course it matters. Otherwise, why would people pay more for certain brands like Porsches when you're actually arguably getting less car, less performance, and what have you? That never gets old. That is more than quick enough. So let me know what you think about my 5 reasons to avoid the NC1 NSX. Thankfully, those 5 reasons don't apply to me. That's why I really enjoy this car still after 4 months and about 1,500 miles. I didn't buy this car thinking I was going to turn it into a track car. I didn't buy this thinking I was going to get the most analog and visceral driving experience. Like I said, I still have my NA1 NSX for that purpose. And of course, I didn't buy this car to do cross-country road trips. Although I honestly probably could if I wanted to. I have a lot of respect for Ferrari, McLaren, Porsche, etc. But the fact that this is an Acura does not bother me in the slightest, because actually that point comes with so many pros. So there you have it. Those are the reasons why I think as an actual NC1 owner, you may not want to buy this car. There are better cars out there if those 5, any combination of those 5, are your priority. I'd love to know your thoughts. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.